So when I made this video on TikTok,
It's finally payday, and this is how much I'm earning from my second remote job as a copywriter.
it blew up. When I was telling people that I make 27,000 as a copywriter, people were like, "Oh my God. How do you do that? How do you get started? What is copywriting? How do you get into it? How do I get a copywriting job?" Like there was a lot of people asking all of these copywriting questions. And then I just thought, you know what? Let me make a full video on everything on copywriting, what it is, how to get started, how much you can expect to realistically earn, and yeah, basically everything copywriting. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. My name is Fafi. I am currently working 3 remote jobs. It's a lot, but I manage. I'm working 2 full-time positions and 1 time position. So on here, I like to share tips and insights and also some sides on what got me here, what worked for me, and how you can also, what you can take from there that you can also use for your applications. I do share some vlogs, a little bit of a personal side because outside of work, I also do like to share people what I do when I'm not working. Okay, so let's get into it. So, if you're wondering what is copywriting, what exactly is copywriting? Copywriting is basically writing that sells. It's writing with the intent to bring about a certain action. If you want someone to buy something, if you want someone to read something, if you want someone to do a certain or specific action, you have to write copy or writing that will convince them, that will actually persuade them to do that specific action. As a copywriter in the world of AI, you kind of have to add more to what ChatGPT gives you. You have to think a little bit more. You can work with AI, you can work with ChatGPT to draft up amazing copy, but it takes a great copywriter to take what ChatGPT has given you and then add your human touch to it. Because at the end of the day, your company, you want to appear as a person, wanting to speak to another person, right? You want to speak to them person to person, not exactly like a business, like this huge multinational company is trying to sell me something, but you actually want to speak to them like on a more personal person level. Hope that makes sense. So like every business needs to have a good copywriter, needs to have good copy, because if you read a great product description, like, okay, you see this product and it tells you what it does, you are more likely to buy that product because you liked what you read. You haven't used the product before, but basically just reading what it is, what it does, you're like, okay, this might actually work for me. Add to cart. That's copywriting and being successful. It led you to do a certain action. That is what you do as a copywriter. So this can come in different types of forms, honestly. I will explain them. But yeah, basically copywriting is writing that sells, writing that persuades. If you want someone to buy something from your company, you have to write in a way to get them to buy that thing. That's copywriting for you. So that's what copywriting is. Now let's jump into my story, how I got started with copywriting. Okay, so let me tell you how I got to be earning 27,000 rands per month as a copywriter. My story. Okay, let's see. I first started as a social media marketer, social media manager actually. I was doing social media captions for this company that I was with. I was doing their Facebook, their Instagram. I was also doing their Google My Business pages, light website maintenance, just uploading pictures, things like that. I was also just responding to DMs, comments, things like that. And then after that, I got moved on to doing blog articles, still with the same company. They showed me how to do the blogs. So they were using a pretty basic blog article builder, I guess. I'll say blog article builder. I would just write the blog articles on a Word document. I would do my research on like what I want to write about. So I do my research on Google, and then I formulate all those ideas into ChatGPT. And with the help of ChatGPT, come up with the blogs. Take that blog, put it on a Word document, edit it, because as much as you want to write a great blog article, it's not supposed to be 100% AI. Guys, don't rely 100% on AI. You need to put a human touch, sprinkle a human touch into it. So yeah, I will take it out of ChatGPT, and then I would put it into a Word document, and then I'll start editing from there. After editing it, I'll send it over to the manager and they would get it approved. If it was good, we'll get it scheduled on WordPress on their website. So yeah, that was basically that. With them, I was just doing the social media captions, social media posts, and also the blog articles. Yeah, that was pretty much that. So while I was still with them, I then ended up applying for, because with them it was a freelance position, right? It was freelance. It wasn't that stable. So I ended up applying for another position and I got it. And the position was basically a content writer, right? I was like, okay, no problem, right? And then I got in weirdly. On my CV, I put down my experience with my previous company. Well, I put it as previous. With my previous company, and I listed out that, I can write content. I was writing content for this company. I was doing their social media posts and also their blog posts. I got to explain all of that during the interview, things like that. And they were like, you know what? We will take you in. And I was like, oh, okay, okay. And then I got started with them. So when I started with them, I was doing their social media. I was doing the blog articles as well for them. And then I was introduced to other types of writing. So with copywriting or content writing, I think the words are interchangeable. There's different types of copy that you write. You can write social media copy. This is your social media stuff. You can write ad copy. Sometimes when you see ads on your feed, those sponsored, and you read the text, that text is the copy that they wrote, that I wrote. And then you can also write email copy. You get emails from like Take a Lot, you get emails from Sheen. That wording, all that text you see in the email, that's email copy, which is written by a copywriter. And then there's also product descriptions. Product descriptions are when you go on a website and then you see, you see a product and you see all the information that's there, the description, all of that description, what it is, those things. That's product description copy. And then we also have people who are doing like YouTube or maybe video editing, and you want to write a script. Writing that is also copy. It's copy. I think it falls under social media. I'm not quite sure. I don't really get into that type of copy. And then what other copy do I write? Let me think. Okay, I forgot website copy. So website copy is basically you go on a website, you enter a website, the home page, the join us careers page, the our team page, basically all the text that you see on that website, all the things that you read on that website, that's website copy. So copy is basically a written word. It's written, it's just it's words, it's text. Okay, let's start from there. It's text, all the text that you read. If you're reading it in an email, that's email copy. If you're reading it on a product, it's product copy. If you're reading it on a social media post, that's social media copy. I hope it's making sense, right? So that's basically how I started. I joined the team with social media copy and blog article blog copy, those two, right? I joined in there as a junior content copywriter, right? So So when I joined, there was also a team of other copywriters, right? And then they were like, okay, you know what? We're going to take the two types of copy that you already have, your social media and your blogs. Let's train you so you can get to these other types of copy. And I was like, of course, of course. I will never say no to an opportunity to always upskill myself. Definitely. Never say no to that. And then they're like, cool. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start you off. This was me getting training from the lead copy. Yeah, it was the lead or senior copywriter of the company. Right. They're like, we're going to start you off with, I feel like I'm talking too much about my story, but yeah, it's whatever. They started me off with email copy. So with emails, you schedule emails using Klaviyo or other email scheduling software. So I would write the copy, basically draft what I have, send it to the team or the senior copywriter, and they would review it and they'll be like, okay, fix this and this and this and this and this and this. So that's basically how I got to be a proper copywriter. Proper copywriter. Yeah, so now I got in the company with two types of copy, and now I'm doing five types of copy, which is a really good thing. I keep skilling myself. That's good. That's basically my story. So now that I've shared my story on how I got started with copywriting, let me tell you how you can get started. So with copywriting, you okay, let's start here. You don't need a fancy qualification. Like at all. You don't need it. I got started. I don't even know what a copywriting, content writing qualification looks like, right? You don't need it. Learn the basics. There's free courses online that you can check out. You've got your Udemy, you've got your, what's it called? You've got your Coursera, you've also got HubSpot Academy, and also there is thousands and thousands of YouTube tutorials. YouTube is where I will always, learn specific skills. Always search how to do a certain thing, how to learn a specific skill, because there's a lot of resources on YouTube, that you can use into what you want to learn. So after learning, with these online schools, online learning platforms such as Udemy and Coursera, you do learn for free. But just getting the certification is where you have to pay. But, you can just already have the skills, which is good enough. That's step number one, learn the basics. Step number two, practice daily. Take what you learned and try to practice it. Let's say you have a favorite brand that you like. Personally, I love Cadbury. Like I'm a dark chocolate person. I love Cadbury. So I always follow Cadbury. Okay. Okay. So let's start with your favorite brand. It could be a new brand. Take your favorite brand, scroll through their social media, and then you see one social media post that catches your attention. Try to see, try to write down how you could have written that social media post, how you could have done it better. That practice, taking the skills that you learned from your free course and then actually starting to apply them. You see the interlinking? You see, you could use any brand, look up social media posts, look up on the website, look up on the products, and see how practice. You take what they have, start writing your own. Like, just see how you could have done it better. Because at the end of the day, you have to practice. It comes with practicing, right? And then step number three, with practice, you already have the skills, you already know how to do it, you've been practicing. Now let's build up a little portfolio. So you've been looking at these brands, you've been practicing what you could have done better. Now you have maybe you have a few posts that you're like, okay, these are my top, this is me thinking and writing at my best. Keep those little samples. You might actually want to put them maybe in a Word document or even in Notion, or you could actually create a little portfolio on Canva, things like that. Save that, because that's what you're going to need when they ask you to send us your portfolio. And they almost always do for copywriting. So keep those little writing samples. You could have just maybe 3 to 5. right? Start with those, polish them up, always revisit them, polish them, always see like, how could I do this better? How could I have made it better? And save all of that, right? Cool. And then step number 4, offer your services. So this is basically you going to look for gigs, freelancing work. This could be either on Fiverr, this could be on Upwork, this could be even on job platforms such as LinkedIn, such as Indeed. You're now taking into practice what you already have and your little portfolio and actually starting to apply, actually starting to want to put it into a professional brand, because you were doing it on a personal level, but now you're doing it for a brand. So that's you offering your services, share your portfolio, spread the word. Basically, you want to get into paid copywriting. That's how you get started. Okay, so now you've got the skills, now you've got your portfolio. So, where does one actually find these copywriting jobs? For me, I applied on LinkedIn. So, I will always be saying LinkedIn is my go to. I will always say LinkedIn. You can try on LinkedIn, search LinkedIn copywriting jobs, and see what comes up. There's actually quite a few options that do come up in the remote workspace or even on site, right? And then number 2, you could also try out Indeed. Indeed also, you can check out Indeed and see what they have to offer in terms of copywriting. If you can't find anything under copywriting, search content writing, because I feel like those two are interchangeable, copywriting, content writing, because basically if you're copywriting, you're writing content. Yeah. If you want to try on freelancing, as I mentioned earlier, you could do Upwork, you could do Fiverr. Those are the two freelancing platforms that I do know of at the moment, that actually you get a client who will pay you quite well. So all these platforms, they post a combination of full-time positions, part-time positions, freelance gigs, even volunteer positions. And please don't turn down volunteer positions, because sometimes that is the exposure that you need, to build up your portfolio, to build up your own portfolio experience. So, yeah. All right. So, you've probably been waiting for this, but how much do copywriters make realistically? All right. Okay. So the pay, I will split it into 2 sections. The pay really depends on number 1, your experience, number 2, your location. So if you're just starting off as a copywriter, maybe you have less than 6 months of experience, maybe this is your first actual gig or actual job as a copywriter. It's going to pay a little bit less as compared to a person with 5 years of experience in copywriting, because again, experience pays more. Okay, so let's take, for instance, this job that I saw here. This is for a brand copywriter by Caddy Logics Talent Specialist, and the pay ranges from 30,000 to 40,000 per month. But if you check here, they need a minimum experience of 3 to 5 years. So that's experience really playing the part here. You need to be experienced to get like, very, very high pay rates. But then if we're looking to like, you just want to get started with copywriting, the average that a South African junior copywriter, so a junior copywriter, you probably have like maybe less than 2 years or even less than 3 years of experience. You're looking at an average of 11,000 per month, or let's round it off, 12,000 per month. And the range can be between the range for that can be between 11,000 to maybe 28,000. This is dependent on, as it mentions here, on experience and your location. So factor number 2, which affects how much you earn, is your location. So you may find that someone in Joburg can be earning higher than in Cape Town, or vice versa. Someone in Cape Town may be earning higher than in Joburg. And let's actually see that in action. So with the same, with the same post, the brand copywriter, here it's minimum 3 to 5 years of experience, and then the location is in Joburg. right? That's in Joburg. And then let's see another job. This is a copywriter for a five-star hotel in Cape Town in Camps Bay. They're offering 20,000 to 22,000 for the same experience, for the same 3 to 5 years of experience. So you can basically see that the Joburg position is paying a lot higher than the Cape Town, position. I don't know what for what reason. I don't know what influences this pay ranges, but basically that's that. And then I would also like to mention that another thing that will influence how much you earn is whether you're working for a local company or an international company like myself. So with the company I'm with, they do pay me 27,000. This is I only just started. I'm literally 6 months in. Yeah, you got that right. 6 months. Not even a year, not even 2 years. 6 months in, and I'm already getting this senior 3 to 5 years experience type of salaries. So now, which makes me wonder, like, if I stay with this company for the next 3 to 5 years, how is my salary going to progress? Right. So you could already see that what I'm currently earning as a junior 6 months experience is what other copywriters locally are earning under 3 to 5 years of experience. So that definitely is a factor to consider if you want to apply for local copywriting positions or you want to look for international companies. So, for my final take, the conclusion, copywriting is a very lucrative remote skill that you can get into, or just, an on-site skill that you can get into. And if you're looking to start working remotely like myself, it is quite a great place to start using the resources that I've shared this video. And like, I just want to point out that it's not really overnight money. It's not something you're gonna do and, you start getting the money. From when I started doing social media captions with the first company I was with, that was way back in like 2022, and this job I only got it 6 months ago. So that's how I progressed from that to how much I'm currently earning now. And I'm actually looking forward to the next 3 to 5 years and seeing how my salary is going to progress from that. So with copywriting, I think with almost like any other position, experience does matter, because if you're doing something constantly, you keep writing your copy, you keep practicing it, you keep improving daily, you will eventually get better, and it does get easier with time. It really does get easier. It gets better, it gets easier, you get more money. So yeah, basically, if you're looking to get started into copywriting, and you can use this video as a guide. Use this video on how you can actually get started, where to apply, how to learn it, things like that. And if you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe and comment and share. And I do wish you all the best in your remote work journey, in your copywriting journey. And I do hope, you get into the space where you can be working for international clients and be getting paid international rates. So yeah, that's basically that. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next one.